This movie was boring as fuck.
Are you insane?
This movie was boring as fuck.
So okay, I'm gonna chime in there because I agree with Tad for like in the first like 10 minutes, I was like, wow, this is really boring. But then suddenly I'm imagining it probably happened for you guys as well. It became fucking fascinating. And I was totally hooked. And by the time
I was hooked immediately.
Yeah, it's
like
a good documentary.
Yeah.
You had to kind of press into the universe of the thing. It took a while to get into
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
You see
Good,
these
well
characters.
said.
These
Have
characters.
you seen the Mays brothers, either Altamont or Grey Gardens?
Both.
I saw
Grey
Gardens.
Gardens and Altamont.
I've
I
seen
never saw
Altamont.
that.
I haven't seen Grey Gardens.
But the
Grey Gardens is
pretty
quite something.
Very
Yeah,
strong.
it's insane.
So
But
this was a weird kind of like a Catholic, not a scam, but it was these guys were like Catholic Bible salesmen, and they would put out the flyers and stuff in churches.
Yeah.
And they would get churchgoers to be interested, and they go over and kind of sell them Bibles, right?
That's
And
how they
try
got
to-
the leads. That's
And
how
try
they
to
got
get
their
the
leads.
priests and try to get the priests to
And the
recommend.
priests would like
Yeah,
Glengarry
who-
leads.
Yeah, who was it that said? Did someone say, "Yeah, this should be a double bill with Glengarry"?
Yeah,
I was thinking
Go
that
watch it again.
actually. Yeah, it's
most,
like,
most definitely.
but man,
And
I
what
guess-
really struck me was just sort of the fact that most of these guys were so old to be doing this for a living.
how old were they really though?
Well, I know everybody, even the guy who's like 30 looks old because
Yeah.
it's
That's the thing. It
1969.
was the 60s.
The other
and everyone's
thing that-
chain smoking. And everyone looks like they're 70 fucking years old, man.
They're smoking in every scene.
And
it's
they're
just-
smoking in everyone's fucking house.
But
It's
some
like
of
they're
those
just
guys-
They smoke in houses, in hotel
Yeah.
rooms,
Restaurants.
church.
Another thing that struck me about this movie, though, is these guys are selling to the brokest fucking people in
Yeah.
the world.
You can't,
Right.
well,
Like,
mhm,
and,
Even
and
in
it's a thing.
69, if you couldn't afford $1 a week,
mhm.
or
Yeah.
So I had to look it up because I wanted to know. $500
Yeah.
in modern money.
It is.
The $40 Bible.
Very
$500.
expensive, about $400 to
a
$500.
$50 Bible would be equivalent. Yeah.
Right.
A
No, I had the
$500
same-
Bible.
Ted, I had the same question. I'm like, how are these guys? Why are they busting their asses to sell $50 Bibles? Because the thing is, inflation is. the
No,
thing.
it's
But also,
$1967.
but also back then, you could buy a whole house in Boston for $25,000.
Yeah,
So this was you could make a living doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
so-
they each had their cars. They were, I mean, how much is the hotel rooms every night, right?
Yeah, I know.
Good point.
Like,
It's
Good
they were all
point.
unimaginable,
sharing.
isn't it? It's
So
like,
it
how
wasn't
do you-
unsustainable. It was a decent job, I guess.
Mhm.
And they're
Well, that
only
one
selling
guy
they're only
said
selling
he-
like 1 to 3 a day. Like they keep talking
Well,
about how many
Yeah.
In the little convention,
like
they
1
have, the
to
guy
5
that
at
gets
the
up.
most.
and
It's never
says-
double digits.
No.
Yeah.
The guy that got up at the convention, he said he wanted to make, he wanted to make
35,000 a year.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This sort of paints a picture of America. I think you guys were sort of talking about this. Like, I found it such a fascinating look at America at that time.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And
right.
I kept
Yeah.
thinking about America today in relation to this at that time. And lately I've also been thinking of the Western and how that sort of reflects what America is today.
Mhm.
And I just have this weird, like, I'm like, wow, like we are so fucked up because I'm seeing like where we came from, you know, like it's been
A
freaking
bunch of
me out.
guys, the curse-like sailors that have absolutely no passion for the product that they're selling. They're just pushing the product to the people that don't need it.
Yeah.
And
this
it's
is
all-
the natural extension of the sort of madman ethos.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
this is entirely bloodless. This is just get out there and fucking needle them until they buy the book and then walk away.
Yeah.
Like,
And
just-
they're-
So
Did any of
It's-
you
it's just
read
widgets.
about,
Yeah.
evidently Pauline Kael really dumped on this. And
Oh, I
said
read about
they,
that.
Like hired these guys.
She
and
said it was
stuff.
fake. Yeah, she literally said it
Pauline
was
is
fake.
wrong.
Yeah. Pauline is wrong. Yeah.
There's a,
Well,
none
you
of
know-
these
you know-
people are actors. Believe
No,
me.
but for the first 5 minutes, I thought, is this real? It was
Yeah.
kind of like that documentary. I think that was Tad's pick, where they sent that guy undercover in an old folks' home.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Mole agent.
The
So,
mole,
the mole agent.
The mole.
agent.
So like, no, they were like the first 5 minutes, I was like, is this actually real or are these people actors? And then in the first 10 minutes, I was like, this is kind of boring. I don't know if I can do this. And then, like I said, it just took over me.
Well, you know,
They apparently didn't ever ask questions of these people. There's like one time that they prompted what's Brennan, I think his name is,
Right.
to talk
Paul.
about the other
Yeah.
guys.
Well, I love
Right.
that.
And
I
he's in
love
the
that
car.
kind of-
He's in
Yeah.
the car describing each one's sort of temperament. and
great.
Right.
The rest of it
As
is
he's
just
trying
them.
to figure out the Alibaba street names.
Right.
Yeah.
This here, I looked
Yeah.
up the neighborhood on.
I know. I want to
Wikipedia.
go see this thing. It looks
Well,
amazing.
I do too. It's still
No,
there.
that's so cool. I love documentaries that are like fly on the wall documentaries.
That's
Yeah.
all this
There's
was.
a name for
And-
the subgenre. The same subgenre is called the direct cinema documentary, where the
Right, it's like
Yeah.
cinema
make
very
it- don't ask questions and let things unfold
Yeah, yeah,
naturally.
that's right.
Yeah,
Cinema
not all
just-
the
I
time
think that was
documentaries-
probably.
Hang out with people and shoot.
I think
That's
that
why
was
I
pretty
love,
groundbreaking for 1969, which is why it's kind of a landmark film. too,
Absolutely.
How
right?
fucking David Lynch is that scene where he actually is making the sale to the lady in the curlers, when the husband's in the background listening to
To the
the
record
Mantovani version
Yeah.
of a
Okay.
and like
Beatles song,
super
Of
loud.
yesterday.
a
Okay.
tank top,
Not only
smoking a cigarette, and he keeps cranking the volume up.
He
Yeah,
just
that was
keeps turning it
insane.
up.
that was Percy Faith's Yesterday from his album for his.
I
That
was,
was-
Oh,
I
but
watched
that
that,
was-
whole thing twice because the way that they followed him back to the car and then spin
And
the
then
camera
spin
around
around,
to
and they're
linger
looking
on
into the house
inside of
still.
that
And you can
house.
still hear
and the
goddamn
music's
record
still
going.
pouring out the front
I know.
door.
That
Yes.
was the
You think he was
10-star
making-
moment.
Well, it was
obviously he was
it was
being
amazing because it was
passive-aggressive,
like
Yeah.
yeah, like the father or the husband was just like, I don't want to fucking spend this money, but
Yeah.
obviously I can't say no right now.
Yeah.
I can't put my foot
He's
down.
gonna
It's
do it
already
anyway.
happening. So this is my little rebellion over here.
Yeah, I'm gonna punish
What-
y'all.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna play
like-
the Beatles and bad music.
Well, first of all, that was bizarre because also the stereo was like it was warbling really bad when it first put.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the
it gives it a
turntable.
rounder tone.
And he had the
Exactly.
volume
Now,
up
mind you,
so
that-
loud.
But the thing is, the sale before that, where he's beating down that woman who does not understand, just keeps looking at the ground all the
Oh,
time and not
man.
making eye. That was devastating.
Brutal.
He wanted
brutal.
Yeah,
him to
man.
fuck out of the house, and that addressed
And
how
then
the poor and the condition that women
also
were
he
in
does
back in
this
the
a couple
60s.
of times where
Yeah,
he
that
just
guy, John.
leaves and starts talking about them to the cameraman.
Yeah, I see why this is on Criterion though. I think
and
this,
she's
this
like
is a
too
landmark
polite
type
to,
of thing.
to throw his ass out of the house. You know, there's some.
Yeah.
But
He's
Yes.
like a
the movie,
It's like he's putting in so much time to get her to say no, and that's basically what she's revving up to do for so long. The camera's so tight on
yeah,
her,
it was
and she's just looking down, looking
Uh-huh.
down.
And you know it's funny. They really do. They really
behind
do
Cad,
show
right
you,
there. Yeah.
Yeah, they really do show you too. They show you a bit of an arc with Paul,
Mhm.
like his sort of disintegration into madness, almost really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
by
So
the end,
Has a little Willie Loman.
I mean,
moment
yeah,
there.
like by
Well,
the end,
he's
he's
not
like,
doing. He's
that
not
last
doing
sale, did you fuck
particularly
that sale
well.
up? He did, right?
yeah, that
Yeah.
last
Totally
sale where he's
fucked
like,
that sale up by
he's like,
opening his
what?
mouth.
He's like yelling at them. He's like, so you got da da da.
Yeah.
One dollar, you know,
I
blah."
know,
He's
it's
like,
nuts.
and I'm like, what are you
Totally-
doing, man?
Totally
Like,
screwed that up.
That's
then
probably like World War II trauma, truthfully. Like this
Yeah.
guy's drinking to forget what he saw in the Pacific. And
Oh,
like
yeah.
it just
I was really surprised at how bleak the ending of this picture is.
Oh yeah.
that's my
Perfect.
favorite part.
It's Tad's right. That's the best. The best scene is him just kind of like staring off, separated by that
yeah.
doorway.
It's the
It's
first time
so-
I was compelled by any of the salespeople.
Well-
Like that's my problem with the
well,
movies.
again,
I
I'm
found
going
everything
back-
around them compelling. I found the music that people were listening to and the boxing match that they
Oh,
had on TV
Absolutely.
and what these books
Little
were and
details.
all of that stuff, like super interesting. It's just every time we spent time focusing on one of them talking, I was just like, please shut up. Please shut up. Please shut up and move on.
In other
I
words,
don't-
you'd be
but-
happy if
but-
it was just like you could watch a movie of
I-
just like
No, I got down with this
camera
whole
stuff
thing.
from 1960.
No,
I'd
Or
love it.
just the sales.
Yeah.
Like
No,
I
let me-
don't need them back in the hotel
But
room.
I
I don't
think it's
need
because
them.
those
I think it's all of it.
Color to
those
it. I thought
guys
that was
only
really good.
came alive when they were selling. And
Yeah.
now some of them were more successful than others. Otherwise, when they're not selling, they're empty vessels sitting in hotel rooms, smoking cigarettes, sharing a
Stupid
bed with two
stories.
other guys.
Yeah.
Couple of
Right, but
beers.
you don't.
Room
But I don't.
honorably.
Okay, so I personally don't need the movie to make that explicitly clear to me because I can tell it from looking in their eyes when they're selling things.
Good point.
I didn't mind it. I thought
I
it
was all
brought
on
more. Yeah, I was
No,
all
I'm
into.
like I
Brought
don't think
color
this is
to
a
it.
bad movie. I personally found it extremely dull. Like if you enjoy it, if you enjoy that look at how they're living and all that other stuff. But I'm here to express my opinion about this movie. My opinion is I found it boring, and to the point that I started focusing on everything that wasn't them. Every time there was something on screen that, like, I spent a bunch of time trying to figure out if the guy was drinking a Sprite, because for some reason
I
the
put
print
the thing
was
with the upside down-
backwards.
The upside
It's
down.
upside down.
Yeah,
Like,
it was a steel can open with a church key.
From the bottom.
And he opened
Yeah,
the
on the
bottom of the
bottom.
can.
Okay, yeah,
Well, they were identical in those days.
but again, that's
Yeah, they
that's
were
one of the-
flat on top and bottom.
Right.
That's one of those things. I spent an inordinate period of that particular scene staring at his soda can, trying to figure out what the fuck was going on.
Well,
I
you
didn't care
found a
about what
way
they were
to,
talking about.
you found a way to enjoy it, Ted. So I
I
guess.
got through it.
No, and I would argue
get
that
through
this is
it.
that
Let me-
this
let
is
me-
that time. This is that type of film where you can be that viewer if you want to.
Yeah, because it's direct cinema.
Because it's observational,
explore
right.
the frame, basically.
Yep.
It was remarkably unjudgmental in its approach, which I really enjoyed, because ultimately these are not folks that are easy to like.
They're not
Like,
lovable.
again, they're
people.
passionate.
Well, and I kept-
they're pushing the product to people that don't need it and really shouldn't be having it pushed at them in the first place, because half of them can't afford it. And you can
No, they're
clearly see like
vultures.
something's shifting in the macro where that type of job is like, you could see it's like it's gone. It's on its way out.
If someone comes to the door now
Last
selling
gasp.
you something, they're probably 20 years old.
No, think
It's
about how
not-
weird that is.
it's
now.
not
People
on
don't
its
come
way
to
out,
your door
though.
anymore.
It's moved. I don't know if any of you have been to a gym at any point in the last 20 years.
What is this gym you're describing?
Yeah.
What is that?
So I don't know if any of you have been to a gym, but you will get the hardest sales pitch of your life
Oh yeah.
when you step foot in a gym for the first time.
You mean to sign up?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, especially if you go to 24 hour,
And
they'll
for personal
fucking sit you
trainers.
down in the office.
Oh, it's that
and
line
start
from
just-
Friends. I want to quit the gym.
Oh
Right.
yeah. Let me go back to what Jared was talking about in terms of the universe of this film and seeing how they made their living. This film is infuriating in the one way, in that was watching these guys drive around in these nice convertibles. I guess convertibles are like a salesman's car. Who knows? $50 Bible sales. $50 Bible sales. They keep 2-3 a week. They're making like,
$500 and now dollars.
yeah, exactly. They're still making fair bank. Every one of these guys has a house. Every one of these guys has a wife,
Family,
probably,
yeah,
a
yeah.
family. So
they don't want to see.
but you don't want to see it. But yeah, exactly. But the thing is, back then, you could make a living doing this.
Yeah.
And it's like that has how far down this country.
They're making like roughly $1,000 a day.
Yeah.
Weird to think that this is
But we
in a
don't know
way
how much they're-
aspirational.
Would you love to be able to
But we
drop?
don't-
If you want,
But
like,
we don't know how much they're taking home. We don't know how much,
Probably 10%.
yeah,
right? Because
that's enough to make a living. It's enough to make a
Yeah.
living. It's
The
crazy.
guy said he was going to use the try like.
Yeah,
was-
$100 a
50,000
day.
wasn't good
Nobody
enough?
was making that like in wages.
And also,
But the
like,
thing-
did
but
you
the-
notice the scene where the guy's talking to his wife on the phone? Like, just the way they talked to their wives and families at that time, or in that middle class.
When he
Well,
hung
the
up, I
one
said,
guy who talks to his wife or his mother, it's hard to tell which.
But he didn't even say like "I love you." It was just like,
I
He
said
was
it
just
for
like-
him when he hung up.
just wanted to get off.
I
the
know,
phone.
same,
think he
John.
was
It's like the scene in Manhunter when he's sitting in the hotel room towards the end, and he's having the conversation with his wife, and she's talking about painting the kitchen. And he's like, paint it gray. I don't care. You know, like he's so
Yeah.
far outside of that
Yeah,
relationship
yeah.
at that point in time that when he has to come back in, she's scared of him.
yeah.
You know, like
But I was the same, John. When he hung up, I was like, "I love you."
Yeah, I said it out loud.
Yeah, because I was like, that's everything was so, or just at least that relationship, it felt very formal. Like,
It might have
they-
also been that there was another salesman in the room and he was embarrassed
Yeah.
to say "I love you."
yeah,
Well,
you
that's
don't
another
say
thing
I
is
love
The
you.
man code. Kind
That's
of
what I
thing.
thought.
I wonder how did these two filmmakers get access like to make this picture?
Well, they
They
gave
paid
them like $100 each, and I think they paid for their hotel rooms, maybe.
Yeah,
or
expense
That
some
probably
sort of
helps.
expenses.
expenses.
Yeah.
And they
did
just
thank the
followed
Bible
it.
company at the very end of the title crawl.
And it was David.
Well, and they showed the convention.
It
too.
was Albert who like came up with the idea, because they had both, the Maysles had both worked as salesmen at some
Yeah.
point in their lives, and they just thought it was interesting.
That's what the title, it said they wanted to go back to the people they grew up around.
Right. And they were also from Boston too.
Right.
So
Well,
this guy. Did
ultimately,
anybody else have? I had this like weird out of body experience where at some point Brendan there or Brennan or whatever his
Brennan.
name was, he kind of reminded me sometimes when he would turn or say something of the guy who played the Penguin in the
Burgess
Batman.
Meredith.
Yeah, Burgess Meredith. He had this Burgess Meredith look to him.
Yeah.
maybe Tad was Tad. I can ask you a question. Were you obsessed then, since you found it a bit boring, and you were looking actually at the mise en
Everything
scène
else,
of the
yeah.
film to find? I did that on purpose.
I didn't say it this time. It's weird.
No. But I have a question for you. How obsessed were you then, since you're looking at the Sprite can and stuff? How obsessed? Because I was obsessed with the dude who had only three fingers.
I
What?
didn't even see that.
I
Who?
didn't see it.
I
Nobody
cannot
else saw
remember
that?
any of their names.
I was
he later
obsessed.
played Radar.
It was
Which
the
guy,
guy.
which guy behind John are we talking about?
It was the young guy, the youngest guy.
The
Yeah.
Guy with
rabbit.
the bow tie?
The rabbit.
No,
Yeah.
okay.
Guy.
Yeah, I think
So
Sheila
he
said his
had-
hand was messed up.
This
He had
guy?
sorry, he was like this. He had three here and then a thumb.
I didn't even notice it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So he had
It's a birth defect.
he had like literally his hands
Make
were
up
like
for
this.
his lack of chin.
Or he got blown off in the war. Who knows?
Yeah, the guy behind Chris.
No, if the reason you don't notice it is because it's not this.
Right.
Okay.
It's his hand as
His
Jared
hand
was
is-
doing.
It's
Looks
fused
like
like
this.
theirs.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm.
I just wanted to point something out because it came up in my brain just now, and I had to go check it. Fucking Greg Stilson, the bad senator from the Dead Zone,
Yeah.
was a door-to-door Bible
Oh,
salesman
I love the dead
in the
zone.
fucking in the novel. I don't remember if that comes up in the movie, but he's a door-to-door Bible salesman, and the first thing he does is try to sexually assault a teenager in like a barn, and then he kicks their dog to death. Like that's how you're introduced to that character. And just thinking about like the bleakness and the passionlessness of this, you could almost see one of these guys doing something like that because they just are vacant most of the time.
Yeah, but I don't think they're
yeah.
fucking evil.
Stephen
No,
King,
not necessarily,
America's
but I'm
favorite
saying like
author.
you can
Working
see
guys doing a job. Like
If
the
they
guy who
were,
wants to
if
do
any
the
of them
sells
were
vacuum
in their
cleaner.
personal lives, you would never get it from this documentary because they're checked out. Yeah. There's one scene where I think it's this when he makes the sale to the woman with the curlers, or it might be one of the other ones. But anyway, the guy makes the sale. Once he hands over the little book that the lady's writing in, you just see him like switch off. He's just sitting there. Like, all I'm doing now is waiting to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not,
Grab the
he's
book
like
and run the fuck out.
charm switch is turned off. He's not making
Well-
banter. He's just zoned out.
And he just repeats whatever she says.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
like,
Psychopaths,
And they- and
psychopaths
they-
make
and they
great
have the-
salespeople.
Watching
No,
their
they-
little,
they
every one of
have-
them had like a slightly tweaked approach.
Yeah, but they have their little like little, what do you call them? Like little
Sales pitch.
phrases, pitches, and
Yeah.
the one
Can
guy
you see
keeps
how this would be a value in your home?
the one guy keeps saying, yeah, do you think this would be, is this helpful in your life? Would this be helpful in your life? Or bring value to your home?
Mhm.
It's like these things where they're like, oh, you know,
It's pretty religious.
If you
stuff,
if you hear something about communism, you can go to the Catholic Encyclopedia and you can look up how communism and Catholicism conflict. With
I like that
yeah.
they were also selling, for the people who didn't buy the Bible, they were selling the Catholic People's Encyclopedia.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was that? It was a gigantic piece of paper, right?
it was like a fold out, a big,
a gigantic foldout. But it reminded me
I
of
don't
like
want
that they
the-
made room to
little
put
thing.
communism on because the
Yeah.
1960s.
yeah.
It was sort of interesting that I think all of them had this this assumption that just because the customers were Catholic, that they would automatically opt
Buy
in.
shit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know that's pretty strange.
Like,
All right, we're back on
in any
track.
event, this is me now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all of us basically. So
Yeah.
there it is. I'm putting us back on the track here.
Oh,
Where's
yeah,
my
I-
Flames of Hell background? Wait a minute.
I'm a heathen for sure. Yeah.
So
Having said that, I enjoyed the hell out of this movie.
Are we at thumbs yet?
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I'm so happy I saw this.
This is one of
a
those
great
personal
film.
versus film quality.
Right.
Like,
But maybe also film quality for you because you think it dwelled too much on
Yeah.
stuff you didn't care about. So
yeah, no, I mean, I don't think it's a bad movie. I don't, and like if you're interested in this, if you find this interesting, like it's definitely worth watching.